My 5-year-old daughter was playing My Little Ponies when I heard her say, "I'm Slurms Mackenzie, the original party worm parents of Reddit. What weird things have your kids done that made you proud?" My husband's mom told my 4-year-old son he sounds like a girl before I could verbally slap her. My 6-year-old daughter jumps in, "No disrespect ma'am, but sounds like himself, not a girl. He's 4 and that was mean. That's my girl." When my oldest daughter was about 7, we lived in this 2-story house. One night, after bedtime for her younger siblings and quiet in your room time for her, I heard her making a little too much noise, so I go upstairs to tell her to be quieter or she'd have to go to bed too. Because I didn't want her waking up the baby, I open her door and she leaps away from her night table, puts her hands behind her back and starts looking very, very guilty. Confused, I look at her night table to see what she'd been up to. On her night table is a Barbie doll, naked, arms and legs akimbo. Colorful pipe cleaners were wrapped around the helpless Barbie's arms and legs, and led to several other odds and ends toys on her night table. I look from this odd setup to my daughter, then back. My daughter shuffles her feet, looking guiltily down at the floor and says, "What? I was only being a mad scientist." I can't help it. I start laughing, and I'm now being way louder than she was before, so I can't really chastise her for noise. So I back out of her room and head toward the stairs to tell my wife. I'm about halfway down the stairs when suddenly I hear her. Muahahahahahaha. I lost it. Nearly fell down the stairs. I was laughing so hard. For years she held to the idea that when she grew up she was going to be a mad scientist. As someone who was once a little girl who dreamed of becoming a mad scientist, I applaud your reaction. My 5-year-old son pretends he's the narrator of How It's Made while he's playing Legos, complete with the intro today on how it's made. Earlier this year, my 2-year-old was at an Easter egg hunt at the zoo. It was just empty plastic eggshells, but a lot of those toddlers were freaking vicious. Anyways, my daughter kept picking up eggs and giving them to all the other kids the entire time. What a gal. My 4-year-old son likes to build elaborate scenes on Little Big Planet, just to blow everything up. I'm either proud or worried. I'll let you know in 10 years or so. I just got a flashback to my greatest triumph in SimCity. I balanced the budget, then got bored when people rioted over taxes one time too many. You know what? Try rioting with a volcano, aliens, and an earthquake on the Lamadome M. My 4-year-old will sit next to his little sister, 1.5, and ask her if she wants to hear a story. If she keeps looking at him, he begins with Once Upon a Time, and then he launches into his latest exploits on Mario 64 or Zelda, Spirit Tracks. He goes into detail about the monsters he can't get past and how his trains keep getting blown up. It's freaking adorable. He really wants his little sis to be in on it. He's an awesome big brother. Screw it. I want a child now. My 1-2-year-old daughter is obsessed with Star Wars. She has wall stickers that she must kiss goodnight. She absolutely loves to dress up and then fight around the house with lightsabers, and she has tea parties with Chewie and R2-D2. She also sleeps with her stuffed Totoro and C-3PO every night. She can also make, probably the cutest, Darth Vader and Chewie noises. Her favorite is to do them when we are walking. We then proceed to run away from whoever she is making the noise of. We get some odd looks running down the street yelling Darth Vader. Oh no, but who cares? My little one has no hope of not being a geek like her parents, and we couldn't be more proud. Buy her a T16 as soon as you can. I caught my 6-year-old daughter sneaking handfuls of green beans after dinner the other day, with a full bag of candy right next to the fridge, completely ignored. I'm proud, but it just feels so wrong. My 6-year-old daughter cries hysterically whenever she watches the Doctor Who episode where David Tennant regenerates. Even when we watch the new episodes, she still asks where her doctor is. I introduced my younger siblings to Doctor Who and they loved it. My sister, 4 years old at the time, 6 now, said that when she grew up she wanted to be a doctor. I just smiled and thought that she was being ambitious at such a young age when she proceeded to tell me so she could die and become other people and have a screwdriver. Daughter, 3, 1-2 years old. The tooth fairy came last night. Wife, oh really? Daughter, yeah, she was really big. Wife, oh yeah. Daughter, yeah, but it is okay, I killed her. She is dead. She won't hurt anyone again. Last night my 4-year-old son asked if he could play on the computer after dinner, and I said yes. He responded, okay, so after dinner, I'm gonna play on the computer, deal? Then he shook my hand and said, a gentleman's agreement. My husband said he taught it to him, but I've never actually witnessed it until last night. Huzzah. My 6-year-old son made up a video game, in his head, about his baby brother called Egyptian Aaron, where Aaron wears a golden onsie and the headdress of the Sphinx and has adventures in the Valley of the Kings. If it's in 2-player mode, you can choose to play as one of their baby cousins. I can't even begin to type out how detailed it is. He even has sequels made up to the game. He's been making up the game since his brother was born. He also loves Star Wars and other cool stuff, but I think Egyptian Aaron is the best his overactive imagination has to offer. I wrote it all down, so he will be able to see it when he grows up and knows how much he always loved his little brother. Dude, my name is Aaron, and I have an older brother, but he never made a video game about me, that son of a b. So to ruin all the fun, I am going to tell a tearjerker. My brother passed away a year ago. My mom was laying in his bed just crying. My 3-year-old niece sees that, walks upstairs. She brings back a stuffed animal, gives it to my mom while rubbing her back. She says this, insert brother's name here, is gone now and he is not coming back. But I am here for you. Just telling that story is putting me to tears. My girlfriend's kid calls Star Wars Tar W. One time while playing he loudly declared, I want octopus water, to heck with your drinks. Next time I'm out and about I think I may need to say that. The time my 6-year-old cousin called me almost too excited to speak and started relaying to me for 20 minutes a detailed description of how he had beat the final level of Super Mario Bros., which both of us had been stuck on for some time. What made it better was my aunt getting on the phone explaining to me how he had told them first, but none of them had apparently understood how mind-blowingly awesome the accomplishment was. He then apparently sighed in exasperation and had asked for them to call me up. Sigh, I love that kid. I don't know about proud, but it was absolutely hilarious. I just had a baby a week ago, C-section, and was in the bathroom looking at my belly in the mirror. My 5-year-old son walked in and with a very serious, very pained voice said, your body is so old, maybe you had to be there. It's funny how kids are the biggest jerks in the world and parents love them for it. About a month ago I went into the lounge to see my 3-year-old daughter doing a kind of weird, slow dance. I asked her what she was doing, and her reply was a matter of fact waterbending. Almost made me tearbend. I was so proud. See if kids Tai Chi exists. Sign her up ASAP. I'm a single dad who only gets to see my son every other weekend. He just turned 2. The last time I had him, he was being very terrible to us all weekend. He is talking, but you could only understand a few words unless you're around him a good deal and know what certain sounds mean, like I, his mom, and her family are. On Sundays, he knows the routine, so when he sees me start to pack things up to take him back to his mom, he follows me around closely, occasionally parting from me to pick up a toy he wants for the drive. This last time he was waiting by the garage door, and I had been getting on to him about continually trying to mess with some electrical wires, lamps. When he was waiting by the garage door, I noticed his hair was messy, so I grabbed his comb out of his weekend bag and called him over. He came and lowered his head. I combed it, parted it, and put it into place. He hugged me and said, clearly, thank you, Daddy. I don't know about it making me particularly proud by definition, but it almost made me break into tears. That moment has been permanently burned into my brain, and I remember it, and smile, often. My son, 4 at the time, looked me square in the eye during dinner and said, I'm not worried about zombies, Mom. I'll just dig out their eyes with my fork. Not my child, but my little sister, at age 2, was with my family at Christmas. All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey started playing. She immediately stopped playing with her toys, tilted her head sideways quizzically, then said, this isn't good music. My 4-year-old daughter was asked what she would like to be when she grew up. A doctor, but not the kind that stops you feeling poorly, the kind that stops you feeling sad. She also role-played as a 50-year-old homeless woman called Nellie for about 4 hours. Fully in character with detailed backstory and everything. Baffling. Not sure what impressed me the most. Time to get her started playing tabletop RPGs, methinks. My 4-year-old son and I were playing Knights when he grabbed a stick and slammed it into the ground yelling, "You shall not pass." My 6-year-old son has been trying really hard to make jokes lately. Most of them have been about what you'd expect from a 6-year-old. Lots of homonym jokes, but we're very happy that he is building his language skills. The other day, a cookie that I was eating went down the wrong pipe and I started coughing. My son walked into the room and, without missing a beat, says, "I guess that's why they call those Biscoff cookies." I feel like I should get this. My middle daughter's first grade teacher sent a note home asking why she was wearing her dark blue hoodie and running around the playground yelling Azarithmetrians Inthus while wiggling fingers at people. My 7-year got into Futurama about 2 years ago. She came to see me at work when I did mall security. She saw me on a balcony looking down at her, her little voice ringing out. Do a flip brightened my day. As an onlooker, that would be the weirdest crap. I was sitting on the couch with my, at the time 7 years old, son watching TV one day. He got up and grabbed a Sunny Delight out of the fridge and walked back into the living room. He took a huge swig, looked at me and said with a straight face, "I don't always drink orange drink, but when I do it's Sunny Delight." He does funny random stuff like this all the time. The other day, my 3.5-year-old daughter was hanging out with my wife. My daughter said, "I love you so much. I want to keep you forever, but I can't because you're gonna die, but not yet," and then she gave my wife a big hug. I wish I could come to such good terms with the impending death of my own parents. That's one of my biggest fears. When I went into labor with my second child, it all happened very fast and my other half wasn't home from work yet. My 2-year-old son was amazing. Went and packed his suitcase to stay at Nana's and rubbed my back when I couldn't move. He was so grown up and sensible. I was so proud of him. That is pretty dang impressive. Not my son but my nephew actually. During the terrible floods in Pakistan, his school put a donation box out for anything people could spare in the way of relief for the Pakistani people. My nephew was about 6 at the time. When he was home one night, he drew and colored a $100 bill and asked his mom if she wanted to trade for a real $5 bill. She thought it was hilarious and cute, so she gave him the $5 in exchange for the drawing. The next day, his teacher told us that he took $5 and dropped it in the donation box for Pakistan. Never been prouder in my life. He deserves a medal. Keep doing whatever you are doing with that lad. My 4-year-old son was playing with his sister when he went over to her and farted. She yelled that he was gross and farted on her, and he looked at me with a smarter smile and said that wasn't just a fart. I was doing butt karate. This probably shouldn't have made me feel proud, but it did. If this is butt karate, then I must be a black belt. Our 6-year-old, at the time, daughter knew what the word shrubbery meant on a test to get into a gifted program because she had seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail. We skipped the spank me scene. That's what my parents did, and it wasn't till I was a senior in high school and watching the movie with my BF at the time that I realized that scene existed. It blew my mind that my parents had hid its existence that well, and then I was paranoid and tried to figure out what other movie scenes they'd hidden from me. Cruising in the car when my son was about 6. Son, who's playing this song? Me. That's Carlos Santana. Son, when I grow up, I'm going to play guitar like him. Me. That'll be awesome. I'll be your road manager. I was in the business. You'll need to start working now to be that good. Son, well, if I can't play like him, then I'd like to play like Eric Clapton. Me. Speechless. He's now a biochemistry major. He does play the guitar. Don't have a kid, but a family friend's 4-year-old came up to me and said, "Jesus is pretty cool." I wasn't really sure what to say to that, so I just said, "Yeah, why do you think that?" He looked me dead in the eye and said, "Jesus came back from the grave, which makes him a zombie. Zombies are awesome." Laughed so hard. To quote Professor Farnsworth, "Sweet zombie Jesus." My 4-year-old has never said anything that specific, but I'm always listening in on him when he's playing with his action figures, and in his play universe, he is always defending me against the bad guys. It melts my heart every time I hear, "That's my mommy and you can't take her away." When my middle son, he was 8, tells his friend very loudly while sitting in church with my ex-husband, "Well, my mom's priest can kick the crap out of our priest." She PvPs. I got a phone call right after it ended. When my daughter was 4, we had to go to my other daughter's end of year school performance, but the shorts and shirt she chose weren't to her mother's liking. She was told go to pick some new clothes, and after some drama upstairs, she came down in new clothes but wearing the shorts on her head. She said as a compromise, "I'm going to wear them as a hat." My mom's jaw dropped. My wife and I burst out laughing. She then put her stuffed monkey toy into the shorts and went out the door. We let her wear it, but when we arrived at the preschool she decided to take it off. We were really proud of her ingenuity. In response to the question, where would you most like to visit for a middle school get to know you activity, my 12-year-old daughter responded Middle Earth. The kid also loves Weird Al, Star Wars, and D&D. My daughter is 4 and asks to go to Stark Tower. Every time I tell her I can't take her there she says no, you just won't. It actually breaks my heart. Yesterday when picking up my 5-year-old son from kindergarten, he told me, "Dad, when I grow up, I'm gonna be a cop." Then my 4-year-old son replied, "Dad, when I grow up, I'm gonna be dangerous." My oldest son was born in 1992. The following took place when he was approximately 3 or 4 years old. I had been watching MTV, I think Road Rules or Real World, and had simply left the TV on that channel. I'd gone over to my computer and fired up my new 56k modem and signed into Prodigy, yeah, kicking it old school, and was messing around on the Usenet and chat rooms. A while later my son wandered over and said, "Dad, let's play Beavis and Butthead." Before I could even reply he said, in the best Butthead impersonation a 4-year-old could muster, "Shut up, dumbass." I quickly got up and changed the channel while trying not to completely crack up and encourage him to repeat said phrase to strangers for laughs. Few years back, my son was about 6. Me and his dad were play fighting, but to him it looked like a real fight. He went up to his dad, pushed him with all his strength and shouted, "Don't you dare hit my mom. Don't you dare, I have my own bodyguard. Don't let him practice the discus." My 4-year-old thinks Reddit is the news and knows the Reddit alien is named Snow. Also yesterday, I heard her singing mumbling "Smells Like Teen Spirit" while playing a game on her DS. She also says she wants to grow up to be a penguin expert, a scientist, make video games, and be an artist, and she likes math. She also once explained, roughly, how a combustion engine works to a friend of mine. "Your 4-year-old is smarter than me, crap." A friend of mine was playing with his 4-year-old daughter when she said, "Okay daddy, you'll be the handsome prince, and I'll be the adorable little hermaphrodite." I totally lost me shite. The first time my little brother tried imitating Darth Vader's breathing, I have never been prouder of a 4-year-old. When my daughter was around 3 years old, we would play a lot of Pantera in the car. One day while the song Walk was on, she just blurted out "No way punk" the same time that Phil did. At the end of the song she also said "Walk on homeboy." Freaking adorable. Another time when she was about 1, my wife and I were watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Our daughter was laying on the floor about ready to pass out. When the theme song started, she stood straight up and started dancing. My 3-year-old daughter went through an obsession with Spider-Man for about 3 months, so naturally she was running around shooting imaginary webs at bad guys. It was adorable. I hope she's nerdy when she grows up. The Princess Bride was on TV the other day. My 6-year-old watched part of it with my husband. I heard him playing with his toys the next day or so and he said, "And you can die too, for all I care," was not followed by "as you wish." If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.